that'll move up and down the playlist. So one of the things that I wanted to, now that I got Terrence and Scott with us, and it may be a little difficult to hear Scott, but hopefully Usry turns down his phone. One of the things that I wanted you guys to talk about is, and we've talked a little bit with Terrence, Scott, about how you all prepare for your games. And obviously we don't have as much time to commit to researching teams and watching film. We can watch a little bit. But I'm always interested in it's one thing to collect all the information available on a team in the limited time we have, but once you get it, it's really more about what you do with it. And as an example, similar, but maybe at a smaller scale, if we know we've got a passing team or a running team, or even in the case of a passing team that you know who their go-to receiver is, what kind of adjustments do you guys make in preparation for that, maybe that intensity that a D-back squad puts on that one receiver that they want to shut down? Is there anything that you're doing in your pre-snap different, or maybe even your conversation in the pregame that helps you prepare for that? And maybe even, Scott, in your case, you got quarterbacks that do certain things. Now that we're getting into the playoffs,
you're asking a lot of questions.
Okay, I'm gonna lay a bunch of bricks here, and then you guys start talking because they obviously want to listen to you.
So I'm sorry, Scott, but let me tell the group though, in case you don't know. I'm sure you do, but so we have Scott Novak tonight, and Terrence and Scott work in the NFL. Scott's a first-year referee. He is also from Denver. He started on the field like we all are on Friday nights. Correct, Scott?
That is correct, yes.
Scott, you want to give us a little more history on your officiating?
I thought everybody knew Scott.
I don't want to bore everybody and take up your time with history, but you start, just like T. We started doing the little kids thing and jumped into the high school, and then you found a way to try to get yourself working some college ball, and then from there you really get the itch, and you just really try to perfect your craft and work at as high a level as you can. And I'm sure Terrence has covered it, and you guys have. There's no guarantees in this thing. So you just, whatever level you're at, whatever games you're working, whatever position you're working, you just try to be the best at what you do. And hopefully you get recognized. And then certainly there's camps and things that have kind of changed the landscape, but that's really all you can control. You can control what your rules knowledge, how you work on the field, how you look physically, and everything else is really out of your control.
Thanks, Scott. So now back to Kurt's question.
Yeah, now my brain's up on YouTube.
Before we go any further, so I think what Kurt wants to know is, what do you guys do to prepare, both you and Terrence, prepare for the big players of the game? You look at statistics, you look at game film. How do you look at that pregame before you go to the field?
Well, I can't speak for T, but I think everybody kind of has their own individual way they prepare. I mean, obviously, once we get to our pregame, T's task is to basically do scout plays for each team, and he's pulling tendencies. He's pulling things they like to do, areas that there's issues. But before that, I mean, you've got to do you've got to prepare yourself with the rules. There's just so many things that you have to prepare yourself with. Rules. Physically, you've got to be ready to go. Mentally, you've got to be ready to go. So hopefully you're eating right, you're sleeping right. But when you get to the game and you're going to work a game, yeah, you know who the players are. You know who the QBs are, the running backs, the receivers, the defenders. I think when I go and look at things, I look at tendencies, and then the big thing that I go from there is matchup problems. So if you're going against if you've got Houston, nobody can block J.J. Watt. I mean, that guy's just unblockable. And there's just certain guys in the league that you know are going to give other players fits. And if you know there's a guy that's struggling with his blocking, his techniques, and he's getting beat a lot, if he's going up against guys that are just really tough defensively, you just have to prepare yourself that you're not going to look for fouls, but you know there might be some issues. So I think that's really all you can do. And again, the big thing is you just kind of react. Each play, we have our, they're not necessarily keys, but we have our areas of responsibilities. And then hopefully you've done your preparation before then, and you just react to the play and officiate each play what is presented to you.
So, Terrence, if you were going to go Friday night to Littleton Public Schools and had Arapahoe versus Heritage, what are you taking into that high school game Friday night?
Well, I know both of you mentioned something about Max Preps or something that I guess has a lot of stats on the teams and stuff. I mean, that would be one area that I would just kind of start with and just see, is this more of a running team or is this more of a passing team? And then I know it's, Kurt does a great job of getting film for everybody, but I know there still are challenges with trying to get film. But if you're fortunate enough to get the film from that, once you look at those stats and stuff, then start watching the film of those players, which is the back that they like to feed to, that they overload on one side, when they spread out, if there's a receiver, what kind of formations are they running? Trips? Are they running doubles? I mean, those are the kind of things that you need to have in the back of your head every snap, and just looking at those things. And then like Scott was saying, from a lineman standpoint, I mean, if a guy is just, maybe there's a couple of Division I linemen that are out there and maybe they just overpower the other guys or vice versa. I mean, they're going to be trying to help, those guys with the weaker ones. So, I mean, really 90% of this is prep. Trust me, it's mechanics, it's the fundamentals, it's everything that Scott said, all the way down to getting the proper rest and physically and mentally making sure you're ready. So that's how we prepare. Like I said, Scott mentioned, he's fortunate enough, he's given me the responsibility to kind of do the scout plays. And so I just try to pull plays that pertain to every position, from line of scrimmage, downfield, how are we covering this? What are we all looking for? Because I think we miss stuff when we are surprised by things or when we're caught off guard. Where did that come from? But we get stuff right when we're prepared and we've seen it over and over. So that's why we're doing these little sessions right now. We're going to start getting into some plays. Tonight, we're going to kind of talk about forward progress versus when there's a fumble. And Scott will tell you, we've been preaching this stuff a long time ago. There's no cheap turnovers. We don't ever want to give a cheap turnover. So we've been looking at a handful of plays, and we just want to talk about forward progress and when do we kill the play or when do we kind of let it go. So you guys want to roll those plays?
Let's do it.
Yeah, actually, I got one more question for you guys. So when, obviously there's the pre-day preparation. I'm more curious how you guys, when you get to the stadium and you start preparing your mind for the game, what do you do in particular? Are you trying to be on your own at that pregame moment, or are you guys together talking through these same issues in that continuation of the prep and continuing just to chatter about things? Obviously, when we get together, we have a habit of talking about the stuff we saw the previous week and we get down rabbit holes. I'm just curious how you prepare your mind to go out on that big field.
You want to grab that or no?
Yeah, hey Kurt, that's a great question, and quite honestly, I think the high school level versus the college level versus what we do is totally different. So I absolutely applaud you and on board with what you say that you have to do at a high school level to get yourself ready. You know, we're a little different. You know, I'm a little different. We go into our pregame and we're there 3 hours before kick. Obviously, we have a lot of duties that we have to do. There's meetings that are scripted. You know, we're seeing TV. We got to do mic checks. T goes talk to the clock people. Everything's scripted out. But I will tell you this: while all this is going, once we get to that locker room, T has set up a playlist of music, and we've got some speakers in there, and we just play music.
I love it.
You know, it's the last few weeks. It's been themed. We were in Minnesota, so he got some Prince stuff. We were in Chicago. He did, you know, the band Chicago. Yesterday we're in Detroit, so we hear all Motown stuff.
Yeah, baby.
And that's just something that we do. You know, some people might look at it and might raise an eyebrow, and it's like, oh my God, these guys aren't serious, and how can they be getting ready for the game? You know what? What we do is very serious, even at the high school level. It's a big deal, trust me. But you know what? When you're off the field, you've got to relax and have fun. That doesn't mean that you're not serious about what you're doing. But I really like the way that we prepare. We stay loose. We have a great time. We give each other shit. You know, we're constantly jabbing each other. But I'll tell you what, when we get on the field and we kick off, it's all business. And we trust each other. We know what each other's going to do. But quite honestly, Kurt, that 3 hours when we're in the locker room, you know, the guys are kind of doing their own thing. You know, they want to stretch. They want to go do it. That's fine. But you know what? The music's going, and we're having a good time. And that's the way that we choose to get ready.
Cool.
But you know, the best part about all that, I mean, the reason that we have that freedom to do that is because we prepared all week, you know? Right. So the fact that you prepare all week, I mean, and then when it's time to go game time, and it's second nature to you. So it all starts on Monday.
Right.
Cool stuff.
I mean, for me, preparing for the next game, and it may sound stupid, but as soon as I get home at whatever ungodly hour I get home, I've already got my bag ready for next week's game. I got my shoes that I have to wear if I'm on turf or grass. I've got my reports already pulled. I've got my packet ready to go. I've got my hats ready to go. The only thing I need to do is wash my clothes, which my wife does for me, thankfully. And then I just fold those up and put them in. But I'm already ready to go as soon as I get home. And then I'm sending stuff out, my pre-games and everything, either that night, late Sunday night, or first thing Monday, so I can get the guys ready to work the game next Sunday.
Cool. All right, we're going to jump in. Scott, that is awesome. Thank you for that insight on what you guys do. All right, we're going to start looking at some plays. And I think the focus of what we're going to talk about here is just what Terrence started with, no cheap fumbles. So I think the takeaway here as we watch this film is no cheap fumbles. So this first clip, I'm going to let it run here. So we see in this case is not there is not a fumble at the end of the play.
And Judge rules the runner has lost control of his forward.
Hey Scott, can you turn your sound off? I think that play must have some sound in it.
Yep, I did.
But you can see the progress. This runner runs right into the arms of the opponent, the defender number 33 there. He's still fighting for yards. He breaks free. And so the question is, and obviously there's no fumble in this case, but there could be at the next moment when right there when 10 grabs him. And so I think there could be some debate here. Once he breaks free of number 33, I think you either have to call the play over right there, because if you stop right here, you could have problems. So in this particular case, I think the debate is there enough grasp at that first tackle? In other words, do we shut that down right there, or do we let it continue? Mark, Terrence, you guys got anything?
Let's play at full speed, not have any stoppages.
Okay, let me back it up and go full speed. It's kind of a blurry screen, but so he breaks free. Do you want progress to stop at the, what is that, the 47?
Let's start at the snap, please.
Mark wants the snap. We'll go back.
Okay.
All right, we got snap.
Okay. Yeah. I think his progress has stopped.
I'll back it up here.
Where his progress has stopped at, that's on
That first progress?
26 approximately.
So I don't know if me and Scott agree with that, right? Is he still fighting after that first breakaway?
Yeah. I mean, he's not wrapped up. Just because he gets pushed back, I don't think that's necessarily progress. But that second time he gets wrapped up, Mark and Kirk right there, that's enough. So I'm probably putting the ball down about the 41. Probably right there is where I'm killing it.
But the
If
reason
he gets thrown back any further.
and the reason we're not doing the first one, because I mean his legs are still pumping and he bounces out, right? I mean, he's still fighting for yardage. He's not clearly wrapped up in that play. So we don't want to have forward progress on that first hit.
So Terrence and Scott, I really like the terminology indicators. So what are the physical indicators? I think you just said it, Terrence. His legs are still pumping, but he's not moving forward.
Plus, you don't have a defender, Mark, that's wrapped him up. I mean, he gets pushing him, and it's kind of the other axiom you try to use is man on man. If you've got 1-on-1, that's a little different than kind of 2-on-1, 3-on-1 tackling. So it's just one kid pushing him back, and like T said, legs are still going. Okay, I think we're free now. Now we're wrapped up. Now we're done.
And now we got 3-on-1 right there now, right? Getting driven back.
Yeah, we're done. Once we get that gang tackle, or at least more than a 1-on-1, we're done with that. But I think right there we're still going. I don't have enough to shut it down.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good info.
that would not. Now think about it, Kirk. What if that's the quarterback, Mark? If that's a quarterback and he's not wrapped up and he's an athletic quarterback, I would hate to blow, and I'm knocking on my head on wood here, I would hate to blow a Deshaun Watson or a Lamar Jackson, who I'm going to have here in a couple of weeks. If I blow a man-on-man like that and they come out of it, oh my gosh, I'm going to get crucified for that. So sometimes you just want to wait, just be patient, and just let the play dictate itself. But man-on-man, I really don't want to be too quick. Yeah, I want to protect the quarterback or whatever, or the runner, but they're athletes, so I want to give them a chance to make a play too.
I like that. You guys have given us some good stuff there with that single tackle versus gang tackle.
Man-on-man.
You got 1-on-1, yeah.
One-on-one.
All right, we're going to move on to another play here. This one's going to have something to do with the goal line, and it's progress safety related. In other words, whether it's a possible safety ruling. And so your screen shows a snap at about the 3-yard line. So you'll see our head linesman, our wing is going to go back to the goal line. I'll let it play through normal speed, and then we'll slow it down. There'll be a handoff to the back. He gets bumped at the goal line and tackled in the end zone. Okay, I think there's no doubt that the last action of this, that tackle that ends the play, no doubt is inside the end zone. And if you're going to not have any progress in that initial pile, and I'll stop it where I would challenge whether we've got forward progress or not. I'll stop it right in there. You see how he bounces in? Right there, there is a chance that ball got outside the end zone. So now the question is, do you give him progress there using that same information we just used, or do you let him continue into the end zone and now we got a safety? Anybody got anything to add to that?
Well, if we're staying consistent, that's what we want to do as officials. Was that man-on-man?
So do you give him progress at that 6-inch line, and then
Is there any difference, Scott or Terrence, how you're rooting forward progress, whether it's at the 6-inch line or the 50-yard line?
I mean, again, I don't know why the referee's moving forward.
Yeah,
but if you were to run this back, who does the ball carrier run into? Who does he contact in the end zone?
Looks like the back of his own man.
Exactly. So we don't have, we're not dealing with forward progress there because it's not a defender. So this action of him hitting his own man and bouncing off and spinning, that's on him. So the further back in the end zone he's put that ball back there further. He's got to get it out now.
So let me just piggyback off of Scott's. Can you run to the start of the play, please, Kurt? I want the referees to look, everyone at the referees, so that I like to be standing on the in line right now. What if the ball was a muffed snap? So referees need to be on the in line before the ball snapped. And I also do like the head linesman. We know what he did. He went right to the goal line as per our mechanic manual. That was a good mechanic on the head linesman's part. So we're getting in the right spot on the wing guy.
If anything, maybe even a little quicker. The headlines get there quick, because that line's going to be threatened pretty quick.
Scott, you like where the referee is on this play, or?
No, I don't. No, and Mark touched on it.
Start on the in line.
Yeah, he's coming.
We're not going to rule on anything here.
And he has players behind him now too.
Yeah, well, he should just fixate himself on that end line and stay right there, and be looking at blocks. Because again, to me right now, just looking at the brim of the cap, it looks like he's looking at the runner.
Yeah, look what
so
happens.
I should be looking. I should be looking at blocks.
Look what happens behind him. Who's officiating that stuff behind him?
Yeah, I think staying on that end line is a critical piece, and I would say he probably needs to even be wider. All right, we're going to move to the next one. I'm going to go to, we'll carry this. We're going to start talking now about cheap fumbles. I think those were some progress videos. So now we're looking at number 5 is a back, and he likes to churn his legs. He'll take the ball up the middle. That's the gang tackle you're talking about, isn't it, Scott?
Right there, yeah, that's enough. Shut it down. Shut it down.
And instead, big number 62 pulls that ball out.
And he's rumbling, stumbling down the field of play.
But we've shut that bad boy down, right? As soon as that gang tackle happens.
Well, and again, there's always a catch-22 to everything. You need to make sure if you're going to shut it down that runner's got possession of the ball.
Correct.
It happens in our game. I know it happened in another game that wasn't ours yesterday. You don't want to be too quick to blow the play dead. So if you're going to blow progress, make sure he's got control of the ball. And then when he's wrapped up, 2-3 guys, shut it down. Because then, just like you said, you don't want a cheap fumble. You don't want somebody to come in there and steal that ball. And now now we're making a decision. Oh my God, did the guy not have the ball? So just see the ball. And then when you see contact, just shut it down. And when you're going to shut a play down like this and someone's running the other way, be very, very adamant, sell that spot. And, even if you're wrong, just be wrong strong.
Be wrong strong. I like it.
Be wrong strong. That's another great one.
I'm looking at this. If we're the white hat from this position, I think you can help here too. I think you can see that this guy is no longer churning his legs. He's given up the progress. We can help our wings out here too, I think, as a white hat. Don't you think, Mark? Even at the high school level, shutting that down. Yeah. Okay, anything else on this? We've got another one that looks very similar. This is in the open field. So that same back, he's going to get wrapped up. He has a hard time holding on to the ball, I guess. So here we're going to have a ball loose. I'm going to pick it up. Tailback gets the ball, runs off tackle, right into the arms of some players, gets bent over. And it looks like the ball comes out, but to me it looks like it comes out after he's bent over backwards. I think it's really the same story that we had on that last play. Now, one of the things that I was talking to Demetrio earlier today, he mentioned to me that something to use a tool in our toolbox is when contact is made on a forward progress / fumble question, you want to ask yourself, did the contact cause the ball to come loose? Or did the forward progress or the contact stop forward progress and then the ball comes loose after the progress is now being withdrawn or pushed back?
Any thoughts on that play, Scott?
Well, again, sometimes the action can be to your advantage. Watch the defender, right? Is it 70? I mean, you talked about the runner being bent back. There's a kid already diving for the ball or going down to the ground before this kid starts getting bent backwards. So that might be an indicator that the ball was out on contact. So I think it just looks like when 30 hits him, this ball might be out.
Yep.
And again, the camera angle here is not your friend, so you can't really tell.
But
Just use that as an indicator.
So you're reading player body language again. Terrence has been working with us last couple of weeks, talking about body language and indicators. What were some of the other?
Just body mechanics.
Mechanics. That's been good stuff.
So let's look at the wing guy, the head linesman at the top. He's staying home, it looks like. So he could have a good position on this call.
Well, I mean, quite honestly, he's really got the only look.
That's right.
He's got and again, let's be honest. 5 guys out there, you're at a disadvantage already. 5 and 22 players, so it's tough. Umpire probably gets a pass on this because you're looking through bodies. Hopefully the referee's not watching the ball carrier, but that wing official up there's got the best look. So
one thing that when we're talking about that wing at the top of the screen, when it's 2nd and 1 yard like that, I think that wing should immediately move to that after he reads run, immediately move to that stake. I think he can help. Obviously, 2nd down isn't as critical as 3rd down in negative territory or 4th down in positive, but I wouldn't mind him taking a step to the line to gain stake and set up.
Maybe about a yard. Yeah.
Just take advantage of that location.
Yeah. Be game situational, game awareness, guys.
All right, we got the next play. Let's see if we got a passer now, Scott. So this is your guy. He's got the ball held loose. We're going to watch big number. I can't get a number on him. He's going to be wrapped up, and then he's going to strip the ball out and bumble 40 yards the other direction.
Rumble, bumbling, stumbling.
Okay, so let's start it again. So we got quarterback in shotgun. He rolls to his right. That ball is out there. Gets wrapped up and then stripped. His body is still going forward. Does that have anything? Is that any factor here?
Yeah, and Terrence talked about it earlier. If he's still going forward, and I mean the onus is on him. He's got to hang on to the ball. So he's still going forward. He's got to take care of it. So even though he's got 3 or 4 guys around there, if somebody takes that ball, that's on him. That's a loose ball. So he's right there. I mean, I'm okay with letting that play out.
And the only reason you are is because the forward progress hasn't been stopped and he's still kind of pumping his legs and doing all that?
Well, yeah, I mean, the ball's already out.
Yeah, it's already out.
The ball's already out. So it's out right now. It's out.
So let's talk a little bit about mechanics. I think the umpire could have a good look at this. Don't you agree, Kurt?
Yeah.
The umpire has a good shot at this.
Great eye right there.
I think the line of scrimmage guy may have a good look. I'm not so sure about our positioning at the top of the screen, the head linesman. I think wandered downfield a little too deep. I know he read pass, but if the play's going away from you, be be slow to go down there.
He doesn't look very interested in his body. His body mechanic doesn't impress me, Terrence.
No, not at all. Zero.
He looks like he's got a
He's
board.
he's got that look on his face like I'm glad that shit's happening all the way up.
Exactly.
I don't have to worry about the coach getting on my ass.
All right, we got a couple more here. Let me go to. Here, yeah, I do like this one. Although it's really foggy, and I apologize, but this is an interesting play. So you'll see the quarterback. He's got the ball right there in the circle. Fakes the handoff. Goes to the outside, gets wrapped up, bear hugged. He's fighting, and then there comes the ball squirting backwards. Does that ball squirting backwards say anything to you guys?
Okay, so if it's me, this play's done at the 29. Kill it. It's done.
Yep.
We're done.
Yep.
We're done.
Right there.
We're done.
Yep.
Shut it down because in some, and again, not all these plays are the same, but you've just got to have a sense of when to shut it down.
Yeah.
And when you get to a point, only bad things are going to happen. You let this go, and then obviously this is what happens. But I think this is a good one for progress right at the 29, right there. Shut it down.
And so then we want the wings to be coming in hard too on that?
Absolutely. I mean, the wings are a rule in progress. You can't let the referee, the referees don't mark progress.
And I don't think the referee should be walking in forward right now, Scott. I think
No.
why is he closing in? That's just going to be a problem.
The closer you get, the less you see. So just stay back there.
Just stay back there. I think the wings need to come back down too. Next play.
All right, was it our last one here?
Yeah.
This is if you notice at the top of the screen, the name of this play.
What does it say?
WTF.
You can't see it. It says WTF. You might not be able to see it on your screen. So watch what happens here. Whoop. Whoa, what the WTF? I'll take it back to the beginning. So you see how it ends.
Okay, wow.
That had to be over about 10 seconds before that ball came out. See that guy trying to rip it out? You guys see that?
Yeah, so once he gets to his
Play is over, and he pops that ball out to number 80, and he goes, or number 8, and he goes 96 yards the other direction.
But again, guys, referee, why are we walking up to the plate? Stay there. Just stay put. And then the wing guy at the bottom of the screen, the referee's looking at him for help.
I think that umpire could help too a little bit there.
And it looks like he has his whistle up
Yeah,
his
he's
mouth.
going up.
Look, see, he was going to blow it dead. So, Scott, let's have a crew conversation now. Shouldn't someone be coming in now, or even after the touchdown was run, that we need to come in and talk about this, guys? What do you say, Scott?
Well, yeah, I mean, here's the deal. If you're going to let this play go, then you have to officiate the play, but have a conversation. So once we get going the other way, then you got to get on your horse and go the other way and officiate the play. But you need to go back. I mean, at least don't we have maybe an illegal forward pass or something here?
No, I think that ball was on the ground. The player was on the ground, and this guy just strips it out of his hand while he's on the ground, and it pops up in the air. It's just a bad play. We're not gonna let this ever happen again. I think I do have one more I wanted to show you guys. Give me.
So let's go back. We have a question from the audience.
Okay, go ahead.
On that last play, Kurt.
The one that at the end zone.
Yeah.
Where they.
So Terrence.
Yeah.
As a back judge, a question for back judges. Could have you come in and killed that play too?
No, I wouldn't come in and do that at all. I mean, especially when you got the line of scrimmage guys on both sides.
Okay.
Being back on the end line there, I don't want to get involved in that at all. So I would stay out of that.
Okay.
There's no doubt the knees are down on this. This play is over, and it's done. We ended up with probably a pulled hamstring when that referee fired out of the blocks like he had to do there. I wanted to give you guys one more that I really like. I know we're
Here's the last
we're
one. We're
borrowed
gonna get back to
time
the
right
game,
now.
right?
So,
Okay.
let me see here. We're on borrowed time. Okay, one of the comments that I wanted to make, and this has to do with less about forward progress fumble and more about when a player is trying to get out of bounds. Let's say this play, the clock is running down and they have 15 seconds on it, and this quarterback gets wrapped up and it looks like his progress is probably stopped inbounds and he's taken out of bounds. And this might not be the best example of a play that I'm trying to make here. Do you give a runner, if he is trying his best to get out of bounds, even though his forward progress is stopped and you know that it's a clock situation, do you let him earn that clock stoppage?
Nope.
Or do you leave the clock running because his progress was stopped in bounds before he went out? Mark, you say
I say it's too far inbounds for me to let that one go forward progress.
so. If this was a clock situation and you know it doesn't really tell me that he's trying to get out of bounds in this case. So it might not even be the end of the half or end of the game like
It doesn't matter though. It shouldn't.
So you don't have any willingness to give the runner.
Why?
So I think me and Scott disagree with this,
With
especially
me?
from game situation and game
Okay,
management.
all right.
When we're under 2 minutes or something like this, I mean, we know players are trying to get out of bounds, so we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Even if their forward progress happens to be stopped in this situation, they still make it out of bounds from being tackled or whatever. We're going to stop the clock. You agree, Scott?
Yeah, the only difference to this team might be when you look at the runner, and again, we don't know what the clock is.
And he looks like he's down inbounds anyway.
When he takes his first point of contact, he's not running to the sideline.
Yeah.
He's taking a defender on in the field of play, almost head up.
Okay.
Now, if he takes that angle going out, absolutely. But he's taken, instead of trying to fight to get out, and just like Kurt said, I'm all for you. And see, if they're fighting to get out of bounds and they get out, they put them out. But this first point of contact, he's taking a kid head up.
Okay.
So and again, it's you can't. It's not an absolute. But if he's trying to get out of bounds, then give it to him out of bounds. And absolutely, if this is, it's a little harder because they're on their own 20-yard line. If they're on the other team's 20, and there's 10 seconds or 20 seconds left in the quarter, half, whatever, put him out of bounds if you can.
What if it's 44 to nothing?
He's in bounds.
He's in bounds.
He's in bounds.
So,
yeah, 44 to nothing.
Unless he gets tackled on the track, he's in bounds.
Yeah.
All right.
So one more point on this film again. Referees, why are we getting up so close to this play?
That's too close.
We don't want to be there.
Too close.
Hey everybody, thank you so much.
Sorry about the mess up on the link again. We'll figure this out. We'll get better every time. Scott, thank you so much for joining us. I hope everybody could hear you. T, always pleasure to hear you guys and what you've got to offer us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Good night. Take care. Yeah.
Scott, he's still there, isn't he?
Scott, you still there?
I'm still here.
Good job.